Still Mills, what's the dizzle, man? Off the clock early today, man. So that's always a good sign. But I keep trying to do this video. And some shit always either I don't know how I don't like how I sound in it, or you know, I'm stammering too much and I'm not getting my views across clear and concisely enough, or someone calls my phone, or just some wild shit that keeps happening with this video, man. But I'm gonna keep trying until I get it right, man. And what I want to talk about is how we can make defense more of an effective scoring criteria in the sport. That is my main concern. Like I sit back and I watch, and people who are just, you know, offense isn't necessarily their best tool, whether they don't have the proper snap on the shot to really deal with an individual and get him up out the paint, or is just, I don't know, man, like his bet, you know, he's a pure counter puncher, and just he's elusive and he's slick. It just, you know, that's where he shines best. That's where his offense is most potent at, off slipping and you know, making an opponent miss and making them pay. So my man Bolt Hype, I made a video about this, you know, so about a month or some, maybe about 2 months ago, and you know, just talking about just defense and why it isn't as big of a factor as opposed to offense. And what he said in the comment section was real like genius level, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I don't watch football, but there's something about the red zone. I don't know. I can't even put it in the proper context, man, because like I said, I don't watch football, man. But I think it needs to be a counterbalance between defense and offense, because just somebody is offensively sound, that doesn't mean it's effective offensive. You know, an effective offensive output. I disagree with that. There's a lot of time motherfuckers just be swinging. They'll land two punches out of 30. So what are some what would be some good ideas to make to make defense a more critical judging criteria, you know, or make it more critical within the judging criteria? Because it's just at, you know, boxing is just at a point now where it's just all about, you know, offense. You know what I'm saying? A cat like Willie Pep wouldn't have, you know, he'd have been losing rounds. By today's standards. You dig what I'm saying? It's really ridiculous, man. How I'm always gonna go back to Danny Garcia versus Lamont Peterson. I thought he clearly won that fight, and I think it's a crime. It's real criminal to sit there and dock somebody for inactivity when their activity is making their opponent look so feeble. You know what I'm saying? I don't know when defense became inactivity. I don't know when using your legs and moving your head and, you know, just really making somebody look minuscule in the ring, I don't know when that became inactivity. You know, you're winded. You get winded. It takes energy up out of you to roll up under a hook. It takes energy up out of you to slip to, you know, in the sport, people usually slip to their, you know, their lead foot or whatever, because it's not as much weight on that lead foot. But if you slip to your back foot, you know, to the side, I'm right-handed, so if I slip to my right side, I'm putting weight on my back foot. I'm putting weight on my back leg. That takes energy. That takes, you know, that exerts energy. If somebody hits hard, whether they're landing or not, man, mentally you trying to get out of the way of that shot. That takes energy. It's mentally exhausting. It's not just physical in the sport. So if a motherfucker is hitting you hard, if a nigga hit with like bricks, it feel like he got bricks in his hands, it's like, goddamn. And then if you catch a shot on the shoulder, if you catch a shot on the glove, if you parry it on the glove and your glove smacks you in the face, the judges in there may not catch that, but you're gonna feel the effects of that. You caught the shot, yeah. But it did take, it took a little bit of energy away from you. It gets hit, when your head snaps back. That exerts a little bit of energy. Moving your leg clearly exert energy. Setting traps clearly exert energy. So what would be, I think it's just really a disservice to the sport when somebody is getting docked because of inactivity, when that inactivity is all the activity in the world. Because if you wasn't active, you would just be sitting there being a combo dummy. You'd look like a bionic eardrum in there. So what would be a logical way? Now, I'm not saying I hate using the term run. He's running. I hate using that term. Because I mean, footwork and angles, and that's not, you can't consider that running. Fighting off the back foot isn't running. It's tactical. So I don't like saying that. However, I think when it comes to the sport, you do have to be in a range, even if you are off the back foot and you're fighting at distance, you do have to be in some sort of range to where your defense is effective. And it should be scored that round, that should be scored in your favor. Not just necessarily ring, I think people say, ring generalship is a very, 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 very distant, what's the word I want to look? I'm not even sure the word I want to look for, man. But I mean, when people say ring generalship, they say using the ring and yada, yada, yada. All right, cool. Well, if someone is just using ring generalship for the majority of their round, that particular standard within the judging criteria is they're using that more so than any other judging standard. Why is it not being knocked? If my ring generalship completely exceeds your offensive output, why am I being knocked for it? Why am I losing rounds for that? I just think that shit is fucked up. So people talk that ring generalship bullshit, but they only use it when the person is being offensively sound. I'm not saying go inactive on the scale of a Lomachenko in his last fight. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying though, if I'm at my best when I'm on defense and I throw 15 punches in a round, and in those 15 punches I land 8-9 shots, and they're clean, well-placed shots, accurate shots, and they came off of counters, or they came off of pot shots. Why should I lose that round if he threw 30 punches and we landed at the same? We had the same, not connect percentage, but we had the same shots landed in the round. Why should he get that round? I think that's fucked up. I think that's fucked up. So I think I think this shit needs to be brung to the to the ears of the people who can. Nobody necessarily has control over the sport, but just whoever's judging. I think that anybody who sits at that judge's table, this needs this is a conversation that needs to be had, because this is just getting ridiculous. It's just it's really disingenuous. It's really disingenuous. It's really disingenuous. I'm making this man look foolish, punching at me. He's swinging at me. He's hitting nothing. He's hitting nothing. I'm slipping. I'm using my legs. He's consistently off balance. He's overextending to land, to get a shot off. And I set a trap right there, and I capitalize on it. So that one well-placed shot is going to, be overshadowed by a nigga who's just throwing, 10 and 12 punches, and before I even landed that shot. I just think that's really egregious. And of course, these is just, random numbers or whatever, man. I don't have a fight to back the numbers like, someone going that inactive, but it's just a point that I'm making. And I think that's fucked up. And I just, defense is really, it really is. It isn't, defense isn't scored as critically as offense is, because everybody wants to see a knockout, which is understandable, which is really understandable, man. But not everybody. We have to be considerate of those who are slick fighters. We have to be considerate of that as well. And their best work comes on the defensive end. We have to be considerate of that. So what would be some scoring criteria that you will use to implement that is beneficial to the defensive end of the sport? What would you like? What range would an individual, if you're fighting at all three distances, we'll start at long range. What range, like how many, about how many inches, or how, could you be a foot apart from the opponent to make you still within scoring range, even if you're on the if you're going, on the defense? If you're, you can't be no more than 1.5 feet away from the individual. This is just random. You can't be no more than 1.5 feet away from your opponent in order to be still effectively. You could still win that round if you're more defensively sound. What are some things that, if I'm tap dancing on the outside and I'm using my lateral movement and you just can't get set. You can't get set. You're punching, you're punching still, but you clearly see this, and he's not cutting off the ring. You dig? My lateral movement is really bothering him. Like he's, I'm shifty. And when he thinks he has me, you know what I'm saying, he'll completely put his entire, he'll put his weight all on his front foot with means to attack. But as soon as he does that, I'm spinning out to the other side. So he has to reset once again. Little shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Why, like, what are some thoughts, like, what would your conjecture be on this topic? If you're at mid distance and you're setting traps, from, just that one little step back, what would be the criteria to make your defense scored in your favor at mid distance? You know what I'm saying? The clinch, what would be your judging criteria for the clinch, for clinch work that's beneficial to you on the defensive end? These questions should be asked. They should most definitely be asked, and we need answers. We have to. Oh, no, I ain't going that way. We have to really, take that into consideration. And damn it, lobby closed. But we have to really take that into consideration and tweak the judging criteria with these fighters, man, or with these judges, man, and that is beneficial towards other fighters, because this is, it's bothered me for a while now, man. Just being offensively sound isn't it isn't a justification for winning a round or selling a round. I don't think so. Being offensively sound, but even with defense being, a more, a stricter judging criteria from a defensive standpoint. I'm not saying go inactive, but it does. Some things do have to most definitely change in the sport to where defense is a prominent judge scoring criteria within judging. You know what I'm saying? You're getting points off of defense, what you do on the defensive end. So, man, like and subscribe and let me know what y'all think, man. Let me know if I'm burnt the fuck out or if I'm on to something, man. And I really want to know. Man. Let me know, man. Peace.